Hey y'all, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this really cute popcorn stitch pumpkin. Also, if you like the little plastic stem on top, I'm going to have a link in the description box, and I'll also pin a comment as to where you can get it. Stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Hey y'all, it's hot, so I got a fan going over here, but before we get started, have y'all seen my book? This is Melanie's Fruit Festival Fun, and I have a bunch of these in the works. It is a cool story about this little girl named Melanie who loves watermelons. It has good morals in it, which I think is important for kids nowadays. And in the back of the book, it has a crochet pattern for you to create your own Melanie doll. This is available for sale on Amazon. I will have a link down below where you can get it. But anyway, let's get started with our pumpkin. This is the large, like popcorn stitch pumpkin that you've probably seen on social media if you follow me on social media. I'm going to be using Red Heart Super Saver. Let's adjust the light. This is in the color Light Sage. You can use whatever color you like. As you can see on this one, I had to use the actual color pumpkin, and this is how it turned out. But Light Sage. We're also going to be using a 4.5 millimeter hook because you need to stuff these firmly. I like to use a smaller sized hook so that your stuffing doesn't show too much, okay? So anyway, you're going to make a slip knot to get your yarn on your hook. Like I said, 4.5 millimeter here. And now you're going to chain 31, okay? So just wrap around. There's one. I got glue under my nails. Sorry about that. Y'all know at any given time I have rescue kittens in my house, and I have them in here right now. But anyway, what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to chain 31. So just wrap your yarn around and pull through your slip knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and carry on till you get 31. Okay, so we have chained 31. So now what we're going to do is single crochet in every stitch all the way back across, okay? This is just going to give us sort of like a foundation for us to start making our popcorns. So, okay, so you see this stitch is not this stitch, this one right here, okay? Not that, because see, that's where your yarn's coming out. Not that one, but that one. Okay, you're going to go in with a single crochet. So many people, how do you crochet with your long nails? They're distracting. No, they're not distracting. But here's the thing, there are tons of people out there, and they're in crochet groups, a lot of my crochet groups that have long nails, and people give them a hard time. Ignore these people. You know what does it matter? Seriously? So you're going to single crochet in every single stitch all the way back across, and that's going to give you 30 single crochets. So I'm going to do that and come back. Okay, I tried to zoom in a little bit more and make it easier to see. Now what we're going to do is start on our popcorn row. Now the popcorn rows begin with a chain 3, and the chain 3 does count as a stitch, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Now flip your work over. Okay, so when we start, like I said, this counts as a stitch. So we are not going to start in this stitch right here. You're going to go over to this one, okay? Because this is our first double crochet. Skip over to this one. Now you're going to do your popcorn. And to do that, you're just going to yarn over and do a double crochet. And then do 4 more double crochets into that same stitch. So in essence, you're doing 5 double crochets into the same stitch. So that was number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Okay, so there's 5 double crochets in that same stitch. Now let's pull up a little bit of a loop and take your hook out. Now go back to the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your first double crochet in that group of 5. Put your hook into the top of that double crochet. Now come back over here and put it through your loop and tighten that down a little bit. Now what you're going to do is pull this yarn behind all of those double crochets and pull it out the top of that stitch, and there is your popcorn. Now you're going to double crochet into the next stitch. Pull it through, pull it through and pull it through. Okay. So in essence, you have double crochet, because that's our chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, a popcorn, and then a double crochet. And you're just going to alternate this all the way across your entire piece here. Popcorn, double crochet, popcorn, double crochet. All right. So I'm going to do another popcorn here. You're just going to yarn over and do 5 double crochets into that next stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Pull up a loop and take your hook out. Now go back to the first double crochet in this group of 5 and put your hook in there. Come over here and go through the loop and tighten that down just a little bit. And it kind of helps if you turn your hook up like that and just guide your yarn through where you pulled it through that first double crochet. Yarn over and double crochet into that next stitch. Okay. Now you're going to repeat this all the way across, and it might get a little difficult to hold because sometimes this is going to want to kind of curl a little bit. It'll be okay. Just work a few stitches and then flatten it out. But you're going to work all the way across, and you should be ending on a double crochet. Okay? If you're not ending on a double crochet, just cram one in there. Okay? Don't worry about pulling all this out. Just cram one in there. And then we'll come back and start on the next row. Okay, so I am at the end of my row, and that last stitch, it is a little bit difficult to see, but like I said, just cram that double crochet down in there. So now what we're going to do, and you see how it curls. Like I said, this is a little bit difficult to see when you're first starting out, but as you build more rows, it gets a lot easier. Now we're going to do 3 rows of single crochet. So you're going to chain 1, flip it over. The single crochet does not count as a stitch. So you're just going to single crochet, whoopsie doodle, single crochet all the way across. Now take your time. See how I'm just kind of spreading this out here. There's a stitch. Just take your time. Make sure you're going into the stitch. There's a stitch for the popcorn. Okay. You see that? And then there's the stitch for the double crochet. Oh, look at that. Don't you hate when your yarn does that? There's the stitch for the double crochet. There's the stitch for the popcorn. And then there's the stitch for the double crochet. And like I said, it'll get easier. This is going to start laying flat as you work your way up. Just kind of take it and pull it apart. And just work your way all the way across. Like I said, you will have 30 single crochets. And then we'll turn it around and do another row. Okay, so I just worked my way all the way across. Now when you get to the end of that row, that last single crochet is going to be worked into the top of that chain 3, because remember, the chain 3 counts as a stitch. So it's going to be worked right there. Okay, so now you're going to chain 1, turn it around, and chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to start right there in that stitch. See, right there, not that one, this one right here. And you're going to single crochet all the way across again. See, now they're a little bit easier to see coming back this way. So you're going to do this row of single crochet. When you get to the end, chain 1, turn it around, do another row of single crochet. So after your popcorn rows, you're going to have 3 rows of single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to work my way all the way across, chain 1, flip it over, and do another single crochet row. Okay, so I have come all the way back across. And now we're going to move back onto another popcorn row, and this is the same thing that we just did over here, okay? So now at the end of this one, you're going to chain 3, 1, whoopsie, 2 and 3. That counts as your first double crochet. So now you're going to jump right back into your popcorns, not in here, but in here, okay? Not there, there. And remember, for your popcorn, that is 5 double crochet into the same stitch. And you see now it's a lot easier to hold on to than it was in the beginning. So now there's 3. There's 4. Okay, and then there's 5. Just pull up a loop and take your hook out. Come back to your very first double crochet. Put your hook in there. Go into the loop and tighten it down. Like I said, it helps if you kind of turn your hook up a little bit. Just grab that yarn and pull it through. And then in the next stitch, you're going to double crochet. Okay? And it's the same as down here. Just keep doing your popcorn, double crochet, popcorn, double crochet, all the way across. Do 3 rows of single crochet and then a row of popcorns. Okay, so we're looking at doing 13 rows of popcorns, okay? So we started off with a row of single crochet down here, and then we did a popcorn, 3 single crochet, and then popcorn, 3 single crochet, popcorn. So you're wanting to work 13 rows of popcorns and then work 2 additional rows of single crochet, okay? Because we already have 1 down here. So do 13 rows of popcorn, finish it off with 2 rows of single crochet, and we'll be back. All right, friends, I am done. So I have 13 of my popcorn rows. We started off with 1 single crochet row, and then we have 13 of our popcorn rows, and we have ended with 2 single crochet rows. Now, as long as you have, like I said earlier, you might just have to cram in that last double crochet here at the end of the row. As long as you have a double crochet and then you have 15 popcorn stitches across, just cram in that double crochet at the end and you're going to be fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. I'm not going to leave a long tail for sewing, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second. But anyway, I'm at that last stitch and I'm just going to pull that through. Now, this is a very heavy and dense piece that we've made, fabric, whatever you want to call it, that we have just made. So when I go to sew this together, I am going to use a double strand. Let's set that through. I'll put the lid back on this before I spill needles everywhere. I'm going to use a double strand here. So let's just pull out a good amount. Okay, now let me get my ends even. Where did it go? Get my ends in. My hands are terrible, y'all. My goodness, I've got 50,000 crafts going on this poor table. I tell you. I'm telling you. Okay, so I'm not even going to bother really with these tails or sewing them in, because you know what? We're getting ready to hide them, and it doesn't matter if you weave them in or not. So now let's take it with the short sides together, of course. And now you're just going to start on one end and just whip stitch it all the way across. Let's just be careful as to where you're starting over here. Let's see, just go right in there. And then we're going to go in this first stitch here. And then I'm going to pull it through. Now I am going to knot this in, because like I said, this one here, unlike the single crochet one I did the other day, this one is going to be very thick and dense. And then once you really start stuffing it, you are really going to be putting some pressure on your stitches here. So that's why I really like to get out of the way. I really like to knot the ends. I really like to use, you know, this doubled up yarn here. But all that you're going to do now is just work your way all the way across. Just holding the two sides together like so, okay? All the way across, so super simple. Pull this through and then go into the next stitch and then go into the next stitch. Try to keep it as even as possible. and work your way all the way down. Now, when you get down to the end here, do not cut your yarn, okay? Because then we're going to start using this to draw in the end. Well, I just tried to talk and just let out a series of sneezes. All right. So now we've worked our way all the way across, and this is where you're going to see why I like to double up on my yarn here. You don't really have to do this with smaller sized ones, but for the bigger ones with the chunky stitches like this, I like to use the double yarn. Now all you're going to do is just go all the way around. See, like I'm doing in and out, in and out. That's going to be tucked down in here in a minute. In and out like so. Okay? And carefully pull your yarn through, and we're basically making like a drawstring effect here. Whoop. See how it's starting to gather up a little bit? And this is going to close up the bottom of your pumpkin, or the top, however you want it to be when you're done. In and out, in and out, in and out, like that. Okay, pull this through. And on the chunkier, bigger pieces like this, it actually helps you a little bit if you just gather it up as you go, as opposed to waiting until you get all the way around to the end, because then you're going to put a lot of pressure on your yarn and risk breaking it. So just kind of, there we go. Now I'm going to work my way all the way back around. Just doing the same method, in and out, and then gather it up. Okay, so this is pulled pretty tightly here. Let's just find us a place to, I'm just going to loop through here. Let's see, do I want to go there? Where? Trying to pull this as tight as I can. Just through there. You know how to make a basic knot like this when you're finishing off your work, which is a little bit trickier when you're using a double strand, but okay. Then just pull it through, and then just tighten that down, and then that knot is going to hold everything in place. And I'm just going to double knot like so. Get out of the way. Okay. And then I have a cat trying to climb up my leg. Then we're going to stuff it. Okay. So we lay that there, and you can just buy a bag of polyester fiberfill if you want to, but things are getting expensive. So I just get a cheapo bed pillow from Walmart and just cut it apart. Works just as well. So now we are going to stuff this fairly tightly. Don't worry about stuffing it all at once right now, because once we start cinching up this other end, then you can really start cramming more in there. All right, so let me, oh, that would be a cute cactus. You know what, you can make it like that. Make it wider, and then crochet a little pot. That's how my brain works. Oh my gosh, Amber, stay on task. I'm trying. All right, I'm gonna finish stuffing, and I'll be back. Okay, now I'm just starting on the other side, other end rather, just in and out like we've been doing. Okay, pulling through, and I'm just gonna leave a little bit of yarn, okay, so that I can tie it together when I get back around. In and out, all the way around. And then as I pull it tight, then I'm really going to go in and fill it up with more stuffing, okay? So just work my way around, and I'll be right back, okay? So I'm just stuffing more, so you can see, because I have worked my way all the way back around. Now, you don't want this to be so tight that it's not going to have room to squish down, and you're going to see what I mean by that here in a second. Because we're going to tighten this up and then make a stitch to kind of push it down a little bit, okay? So don't stuff it so much that it won't be able to do that. So let's just put a little bit more. Okay, this should be enough. Okay. Now let's just pull this tight like a drawstring here, and then I'm going to tie a good knot. I'm not going to try to close it all the way, because you need to have room to put in a stem, okay? And there are several different ways that you can make a stem. Crochet one if you want to. I don't like to. You can use a stick. You can use a cinnamon stick. Or I'm going to show you here in a minute what I'm going to use. Okay, and then you could just tuck your end down in there if you want. Okay. So now it looks something like this. Let me see if I can zoom out. I got paint all over here, so don't worry about that. See, now it looks kind of like a ball. But what you're going to do is, taking with your needle, just go straight down through the top here and try to come out not straight at the bottom, because then you're going to come out, you know, where we cinched it up and your needle's really not going to have anywhere to grasp. But here's the hole where we cinched it closed. Try to come out on either side of that, okay? Like I said, so that your needle is going to have something to work its way through. And I wish I had my longer needle, but I don't. Okay, so now we're out the bottom here. I'm just going to come straight across, go in right there, and just kind of come up. Let's see. And of course, my phone cuts off because nobody wants to call until I'm sitting here doing something. But anyway, I just went back through, came out this end. Now I'm going to jump over and go back in there. You're basically just making a crisscross pattern on the bottom, right? See, oh, that is too far over. Ooh, do you hear that thunder? Can y'all hear that thunder? Thunder! All right, let's pull this up. Let's take a look. That's the thing with using like double strand yarn. Just make sure that you get both of your strands pulled up there. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to squish this until it gets to the shape that I want it to be. That's looking good. Okay, and now... Does that look good? Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now you're just going to run your needle in somewhere, just like we did a while ago, and just work through your loop and then finish off your work, okay? Make sure everything is pulled even. There we are. Okay. Just pull it tight and then finish off your yarn and work away your end. Okay, so I was just comparing it in size to the orange one, and they're pretty much the same size. All right, so now I'm going to put a stem in there. Now these stems came from Amazon. They're just little plastic stems. But like I said, you can use a stick, just a regular old stick you find in your yard, and tie some twine around it. That'd be a nice way to finish it off. You can use a cinnamon stick if you want it to have a bit of a smell to it. And then that way you can take cinnamon essential oil and just put a little drop here or there on the cinnamon stick and give it a fragrance. Or you can use these little plastic stems here, and they come in this bag that has all different kinds and all different colors. I'm trying to see what kind I used on this one because I like that one. Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Or I'm going to use a lighter colored one because this yarn is a little dark. But anyway, as you can see, they have like these little barbed ends on them. So when you put them down in something, it's going to be hard to pull it out. But if you have cats, dogs, and feral children running around, you might want to put a blob of hot glue on here and then stick it down in the top of your pumpkin, okay? But right here, this is where we gathered it up. I'm just going to just work it down in there to make sure those little barbs grab onto the yarn and it's not going to come back out. And there you go. There's your pumpkin. Let's take a look at the orange one again. I know my table's a darn disaster. I'm sorry. But how cute are these? Nice textured popcorn stitch pumpkins. If you would, please give this video a thumbs up. Click subscribe. Check me out on other forms of social media, the links to all of which will be in the description box down below. And I hope to talk with y'all next time. Bye.